Please return to your seats. Class is now in session at usaprepares.com. Interact now by emailing instructor@usaprepares.com or text 417-200-4715. And now, Vincent Finelli and Mark Wright.
And we're back on USA Prepares, the radio program. We are going to continue our interesting interview with Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America. Vincent, you got a question for Larry?
I do. Larry, as you know, I used to live in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I went to a gun show many, many years ago, and there was an extraordinary amount of authorities walking around the parking lot. And at this gun show, people were very reluctant to buy anything because it just felt so uncomfortable. A couple days later...
That was a period of time when they were doing that specifically to intimidate people. They hate gun shows, and that was one of the tricks they came up with.
And
you saw it up close and personal.
I did. I was there. It was outrageous. And then what they did was the gun show was Saturday, Sunday at the Richmond Fairgrounds. And then what these authorities did was show up at the people's houses that were in attendance at the gun show. And how did they know? Well, they wrote down license plates in the parking lot. So following the show of Saturday, Sunday, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they visited the homes, and they said, okay, let's see your papers. And then what happened was Congress got involved. And they said, this has got to stop. So it seems like the government is doing the evil. And what do we do about it?
Well, hopefully this horrible scandal that ATF has been caught up in is going to give us an opportunity. I'd really like to see the agency done away with, and we're going to call for that and push for that. But I think we have an opportunity at least to cut the head of the snake off. What I would like to recommend as a fallback, as a minimum, is that every supervisor of every ATF office in the field and all of the officials in Washington go. There's a culture of corruption that has prevailed there. We knew about Waco. That was too big to sweep under the rug. And some of the things like you personally observed were the agents were being ordered to do. But they've also, when they bring evidence to the laboratory, they fudge the evidence, they fudge with the guns and the way they'll shoot, and they'll use different standards for different cases to try. It's outcome-based science at their lab. Okay?
Well, what does our class do? Larry, what would you like our class, our five-state class, to do to help us?
Well, if they can go to gunowners.org, there's a place right on the front page to sign up for the alerts. And when one comes, and it's usually one a week, dealing with what's going on Capitol Hill, we'll embed an email in there that it makes it real easy to fire off to the appropriate member of Congress. And we're going to be watching and working on this fast and furious scandal, supporting Representative Issa, trying to make sure the other members of Congress get the message and support him in turn and encourage him and say, hey, my folks are aware of this. So if folks would like to be part of that kind of grassroots lobbying, real easy, but we get staff telling us all the time, keep those emails coming. Now, admittedly, we don't talk to Charlie Schumer's staff. So I'm not sure that's what they would tell us, but it does have an effect. They do need that kind of encouragement or sometimes griping, and folks will go to gunowners.org. It will help.
Well, Larry, when you were here at the expo back in May, the Get Prepared Expo, you spoke. People were fascinated with what you had to say. They were intrigued by the information that you had. You were there at your exhibitor table, and a lot of people came up, and I know a lot of people became members that day, and
yes.
A lot of people from the Ozarks got to meet you and got to know you. Obviously, we want you to come back. The Fall Expo is September 9th and 10th, and if you had the opportunity to come back, that would be fantastic.
You say it's September 9th and 10th?
Yes, sir. That's going to be a Friday, Saturday, September 9th and 10th, and if your schedule would allow you to come, I think that would be great. I think we're going to have more people. Larry, we had such a wonderful response from the community and the media after the last expo. I suspect we're going to have a much larger crowd, and I think that there will be more people coming, and I think more people out there need to become a member of your organization. You are a watchdog. You're on the front line to restore and protect our Second Amendment rights, and I think people need to go to gunowners.org and think about becoming a member of your organization immediately.
So you're not going to have it the first weekend of October as one time you were thinking?
That's right. We had contemplated in the 1st of October, but we think September 9th and 10th is going to be a better time for us.
Well, I've got another engagement, unhappily, because I was eager to come back to.
Well, we're going to have another expo in the spring and again next fall, and in various other locations. There's going to be lots of opportunities for you to come back in the future.
Well, I will definitely want to make sure I get the date right and get it nailed down, because you guys really put together a great show. I enjoyed being there, and it's obvious that the folks that came enjoyed being there.
No doubt about it. Now, give us an update. What are some of the other issues that gun owners, Second Amendment supporters, ought to be aware of at the federal level in Washington, D.C.?
ATF has been seeking approval of a proposed regulation that would be a form of backdoor reenactment through the bureaucracy of the Clinton gun ban. There's a horrible Nazi-era feature in our federal gun control law, which sort of worsens its unconstitutionality to begin with, that says that firearms can be imported for the domestic market only if they are suitable for sporting use.
Oh, my.
So our lads over at ATF are proposing to ban the importation of certain shotguns if they have any of the features and accessories that made a Clinton gun ban because of those features. And this is, if they get away with this, then they're just going to keep doing more and more of that. They banned the re-importation of 820 or 30,000 M1 Garand rifles from the Korean War era. The Koreans wanted to sell them and get the loot to buy some upgrades. These are, as much as anything now, collector's items. They're
fabulous
legally
weapons.
antique guns. And that was banned because, they might fall into the wrong hands. So I know it's quite frequent that we find robbers using a 10-pound gun that's about 4 feet long. 5 feet long. By the way, I was listening to the news during the break. Hooray for the lady that plugged that in Home Invader. That was great shooting, man.
That's fantastic. Hey, that warms my heart when I see a citizen, and this lady had a Missouri concealed carry license. She had went to the class. She got her license. She got the training. She came home. She knew exactly what to do in that scenario, and that is preparedness.
If you can find out who she is, we will make her an honorary complimentary life member of Gun Owners of America.
Wow.
Yep, and
we will do that.
And we're hoping to get her at the expo where she can talk all about it.
Beautiful. You're making me even more unhappy that I can't be there.
Well, who knows? That schedule may open up, Larry. Larry, another important aspect of your organization, which I'm very well aware with, being in the state legislature, is you guys actively seek out pro-Second Amendment candidates to support in Congress. And so that's another important function of what you guys do. I think you do some type of grading system for endorsement.
One example of that is Ike Skelton, a Blue Dog Democrat, had voted anti-gun. We backed Vicki Hartzler, and I think it's a district near to Springfield.
Yeah, they're in the listening area. You're talking to them right now.
Well, we backed her. The NRA backed Ike Skelton, and that occurred 35 other times in House races last year. We also opposed Harry Reid. The NRA gave him the maximum contribution. We supported Sharon Angle in the primary and through the general election. So right there you can see the difference in philosophy. Some folks want to just accept the system as a given, work with it, not really push too hard because it might be, quote-unquote, counterproductive. We think the system needs to be changed, and we got to get people like Hartzler in there, or it's never going to stop beating up on us.
Well, there's no doubt. Vicki Hartzler, I served with her in the state legislature. She was a pro-gun, Second Amendment supporter then. I'm sure she is now. And we need more like her, more like Billy Long in Congress that will take care of our Second Amendment rights. And Larry,
We
I want to
backed
say,
Billy Long too.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us an update on the gun runner scandal, the Fast and Furious. We would like for you to come back on maybe here in the coming weeks and give us another update as this continues with committee hearings in Washington, D.C., if you don't mind.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Larry Pratt, Gun Owners of America.
This is Mark Wright and Vincent Finelli on USA Prepares, the radio program. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back for our last segment in the show.
This can be sliding.
What are today's hot?
God, you're
Take my when you go to DC for 2 seconds during
Class is back in session. Turn up the volume. USAPrepares.com with the original survival economist, Vincent Finelli and Mark Wright.
And we're back on USA Prepares. I am Mark Wright, and this is Vincent Finelli. We're back at the controls, and what a fascinating interview with Larry Pratt. That man is a bona fide patriot, and I'm so happy that we have people like that on the front lines in Washington, D.C., representing me and you in our Second Amendment gun rights.
Mark, I've heard Larry Pratt on the radio for years and years. His message is solid, steady. He's unwavering. Larry Pratt is not afraid. He's just not afraid. He's with us.
He's not intimidated by these liberals in Washington, D.C. by any stretch of the imagination.
Let's talk about storm shelters.
You know, I was listening earlier about the flooding up on the Missouri River and the Mississippi River up north, and I heard about some other storms in the country. And when I start hearing about storms, I start thinking about Missouri storm shelters, our friends over there, Karen and Jeff.
Yeah, they've got a store in Nixa. They're so concerned about your safety that their safe room door opens inward. I said that yesterday, inward. And the reason why is, let's say a storm happens and it piles debris against the door. Well, how would you open the door outward with debris in your way?
Yeah,
so
think about that. If you had one that opened outward, a lot of people put them in their garage or whatever. They even put them in their ground. And if your house literally fell on your shelter, how do you open up the door and get out? And you may not be found for days or weeks.
So what they do is they've engineered their storm shelter so that the door opens inward, away from the debris. And they've got an emergency bypass handle that permits anyone inside the shelter to exit. So it's an emergency handle so that even if small children are in the shelter, they can use this emergency handle and exit. So those that want wheelchair access, your Missouri storm shelter safe room can be installed that way. You know, the Joplin tornado was measured at 198 miles an hour. Missouri storm shelters, their safe rooms are tested to winds of 250 miles per hour, exceeding the EF5 rating. All Missouri storm shelters meet or exceed FEMA 320 and 360 recommended standards. And each safe room carries a seal and a serial number assuring quality verification by the National Storm Shelter Associations. Missouri Storm Shelters carries the largest selection of certified storm shelters in the world.
Wow.
417-725-0055. 417-725-0055. MissouriStormShelters.com. MissouriStormShelters.com. Please tell them that Vincent and Mark sent you.
Absolutely. You know, Missouri Storm Shelters, they are not a local regional company. They are a national company. I think they're into 18 states now. Jeff the other day told me that South Dakota, which is his home state, he finally got a distributorship there, and he was so proud of that. So this is a national company, and it's because they have the best product on the market today, bar none, second to none. So I think we ought to say thank you to those guys, and also I think we ought to say thank you to our good friends at Swiss America.
Oh, you're right.
If it wasn't for them, we would not be on this radio program today talking about preparedness, talking about gun rights, talking about storm shelters, and how to get better prepared for any contingency in the future. And we want to encourage our friends to think about visiting Swiss America.